What's up, YouTube? You already know what it is. It's your boy Anthony Simmons, and if you're tuned in here with me, then you should know that you're tuned in to Higher Heights, the only channel that stands for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So we're gonna get into this. It's been all over the media the last couple of weeks, and especially the last couple of days, and especially today, since they finally released the camera footage of Tyre Nichols' brutal beating, the brutal beating that led to this young man's passing. Now listen, I did a video on this earlier this week, but now that the footage was released, we got the whole content, and I think that it's undeniable that every officer in this video can be charged and be complicit in what happened on that scene. If you haven't seen the footage yet, beware. I'm going to be showing some of the clips of the footage in this very video. It's very graphic in nature. You see all the people at the press conferences telling you, warning you, do not let children see this if you can keep from it. If you're sensitive to things like this, very sensitive, then you should beware before you watch this, because this is very brutal. It's a shame on us as human beings. It's a shame on every police officer that's in this video before I get ready to show it. Man, when they say that this can't even be compared to what happened to Rodney King, this is even worse to a degree when you think about this being the same race and people able to do this to a human being for this long. Actually, to me, it's almost, it's equivalent to the George Floyd thing, because the George Floyd situation, because you see these cops have no mercy. And before we get into it, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're going to get into all of that. I got several points I want to hit and when in regards to this video real quick. So we're going to get into the footage. But before we do, I need y'all to do three quick things for me. I need y'all to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the notification bell, because you definitely don't want to miss when I'm dropping content like this.
We saw the initial traffic stop. We saw the young man Tyre Nichols, apparently attempt to flee and get tased. The officers seem to have deployed pepper spray and maybe pepper sprayed each other.
Now, I'm anxious to see as this video unfolds, as this situation continues to develop and new things are found and new charges are filed. I'm anxious to see what actually comes of all of this, as far as where did this stem from? Why did these officers get so angry? But the news reporter at one point says that it looks like the officers had tased Tyre Nichols, and then also they sprayed pepper spray, but it looks like they sprayed each other more than they sprayed him. One thing about these officers with these egos and these more than a human being attitudes is they hate to be embarrassed. They hate to be embarrassed. And just because they embarrass themselves has nothing to do with whether or not Tyre Nichols should have been done that way, because we all know in our hearts that Tyre Nichols did not deserve to be treated like that from what we see on the footage. Now, whatever they got, whatever story they come up with or concoct, we know that we haven't seen anything that would suggest that this young man should be done like this, other than the fact that you probably got embarrassed. Your ego was hurt. Your ego was hurt. You see three officers when it begins, and you see multiple officers begin to come on the scene in these video clips that I'm getting ready to show. So you see more than enough officers that are able to, should be able to subdue this one person. You understand what I'm saying? When you have 3-on-1, and these are some stout officers from what I see on this video. These ain't little bitty kids. These ain't little wimps. These are stout officers 3 of them on him at first, and more officers began to arrive on the scene. Now, I could barely watch when the one officer begins to walk up and to kick this young man in the face. Like literally walk up and kick 2 or 3 times to this young man's face. I could barely watch. But you think that's the worst you could see. You think, well, okay, they done tased him. They done tried to pepper spray him. Now this guy comes out kicking him in the face. It gets worse than that. As we continue to watch, we see where an officer comes out with a nightstick. He comes out with a nightstick, not trying to calm the other officers down, not trying to say, hold on, let's take a breath. Let's see what we doing here. We got 4 or 5 officers on the scene, but come out and bring the nightstick out. Not only does he bring the nightstick out, he's trying to position himself behind him as if to strike fatal blows to the back of your head. Listen, anytime you're trying to hit somebody in the head, bro, you trying to take them out the game off the rip. They already got him on the ground. He can't go nowhere. If he was to get up and run, he wouldn't get far from what they've already done to him. But the officer gets out with his nightstick, begins to try to position himself, not in front of him, not aiming at his legs as to incapacitate him to where he can't run. You know, he's trying to position himself to strike some very vicious blows. This is evil. The officers are actually trying to sit him up in a position where he could be hit with this nightstick. And let me backtrack for a second, because even when they tased him, bro, listen, y'all got to understand that taser is not for somebody who's running away, bro. You gotta understand your levels of escalation. That taser is not for somebody running away. Just because you out of shape and you can't run, if he's running, your level of escalation should just be to run and to chase. To run and to chase. He's not causing any physical harm to y'all. He's not a threat to you because he's turned his back and he's running, but you tased him. So I had to backtrack and put that out there. Number 2, the next level of escalation, you kick the man in his face while he's on the ground, while he's being held by some other officers. Number 3, the next level of escalation that you took it to, you brought out a nightstick. The nightstick was unnecessary. He has no weapon. He's not striking you. He's not coming at you in an aggressive manner because he's on the ground. He's actually being held down, held in position by somebody else. So the next level is you come out with a nightstick. How cowardly is that? How stupid is that? And then last but not least, the most brutal part of this video, y'all. You know, you think the kicking is bad. You think the tasing is bad. That was unnecessary. You think all of this is bad. But then not only is the nightstick bad, but they end up picking this young man up, picking him up off the ground, which the whole point is to get him subdued. But he's on the ground, he's subdued. But not only that, you haven't inflicted enough punishment. You know, you haven't got enough of your brownie points back, your high score back. So you have to get him up off the ground, put him in position to where this big burly officer can come, lay his hands on him, get a couple of good punches, haymakers in there. To which I'm sure he felt good about, because there's a point in the video where I could swear that I see some officers dapping each other up. Patting each other on the back, that good old boy system. None of the officers have the wherewithal. None of the officers have enough integrity to say, y'all, stop what we're doing. Because when evil is moving around in the crowd like that, 2 or 3 are joined together and they all in the same agreement and they all on one accord, nobody has the gall, nobody has the leadership to stand against this evil and say, stop what we're doing, this is wrong. All of these black officers out there able to punch on themselves, because essentially that's what they were doing when you're hitting another black man. You're hitting yourself. You're killing yourself. How can you sit there for these many minutes and do this knowing that you've been had the advantage? The whole time you've been had the advantage. So the guy comes out, stands him up, and he begins to hit him as if he was hitting a punching bag, an inanimate object. But this is a real life, flesh and blood, breathing, life-breathing human being, let alone your same color. How much do you have to hate yourself? How much have you disassociated yourself from humanity, period, let alone your race? How much have you disassociated yourself hiding behind a badge and a uniform that you're able to commit such heinous acts of violence against a young man who is clearly not able to defend himself? And let me tell y'all this. So if you look on my channel, you'll see I've done several podcasts about the death penalty. And I can't really come to grips on whether or not I'm for or against the death penalty. But if I was on the fence, this would be an offense where I said these people deserve what is coming to them. But I cannot be the judge of what they deserve. That's God's job to be the judge of what these people deserve, to be the sentencers of what they deserve. See, us as men, we can only go so far. But this is something these people are going to have to deal with through the letdown of their family, through the letdown of the community, through the embarrassment and the shame and all the thoughts and the dreams that they're going to have as a result of what they done. See, they're going to have to deal with this whether or not y'all believe it or not, because the human mind and the spirit is something powerful. And no matter what we do to these human beings, guess what? They've got something even deeper. If you haven't liked the video, I need you to go ahead and do that. Like the video, subscribe to the video, and also hit that notification bell. But let me tell y'all this. I got a suggestion. I got a real deal suggestion. Because before we had all these cameras on the scene, before we had all of that, people had camera phones at every intersection, before we had the cameras on the poles where we can catch people committing traffic violation, we weren't privy to this kind of footage, to this kind of insight. We were not privy to see this kind of thing. You know how many people have been hurt, harmed, and lives ended, and nobody had any clue what happened? We can only believe one side of the story. Just imagine if there wouldn't have been footage of this. Just imagine a write-up. Just imagine a report. So you got all these camera phones, you got all this footage and stuff like that. But even with that, we had to go a step farther. We had to say, let's start putting body cameras on these police officers. That doesn't work, because when evil takes hold, you can see people forget. They black out. This is an evil like never seen before. They don't even carry the cameras around. I'm going to tell you a suggestion that I got for this. I got another level of solution that will try to help us, because we as citizens, if the police, if the justice system is not going to take it into their matters to do constant psychological evaluations on these people. I mean, constant, periodic, weekly checkups on the mental stability of the officers that they're entrusting to go out on these streets and patrol the streets. If they're not going to take it in their hands to go a step further, I say that the people need a liaison. The people need to have somebody riding in these squad cars that's for the people. Yeah, like you got HR at work that's supposed to be a buffer between you and upper management. Yeah, you know how you got HR that's supposed to fight for the interests of the people and also protect both sides. They're like a mediator. The people need somebody. We need to pay somebody to be in these cars that's not employed by the police department, because we see they don't have the integrity or the gall to have anybody on the force that's going to go against the grain. We need to put somebody in each squad car that responds to a call, that is actually a mediator, that is actually charged to make sure everything goes right. A human being, y'all. That they're not swayed by the police department, because they're not getting paid by the police department. They need to be there to be able to ensure that whatever's happening, it's happening by the book. Because these police officers have seemed to lost their mind when it comes to the aggression that they use, when it comes to the disrespect and the way they think that they can carry themselves behind that badge. You are to protect and serve. Your authority goes no further. Yes, you do deal with violent situations. Yes, you do deal with dangerous situations that in a split second that your life could be hanging in the balance. But this is your job. This is what you signed up for. You get no sympathy. You get no brownie points. You get no help for us wanting to support you. You get no support or sympathy from people who see you sit here and savagely attack a person who is helpless in this situation. And this has happened over the years of history. This has happened, and probably more brutally than this. We just don't have documented evidence. We don't have documented proof or evidence. So I suggest that we put somebody in these squad cars. Y'all heard it here first on Higher Heights, just in case you see this ever happen. Somebody that mediates for the common man, for the citizen, or either somebody driving their own car and responding to the scene of a crime, just like the police, who documents, who also is in charge to say, hey, this is not being done right, because these police are not considering human life when they do actions like this. Y'all, let's talk about it more in the comments. I want to know how y'all feel about the idea that maybe we should have a liaison, maybe we should have a mediator, maybe we should have a neutral party that has to show up at these sites. They probably need to be armed as well, because you never know if these officers are going to turn on them or try to manipulate them. Yeah, or try to make them scared. They need a whole little unit themselves, you know what I'm saying, so they can have some protection as well. But the people who speak for the people, but are not paid by the state, by the police department. With that being said, let's talk about it in the comments, hashtag Higher Heights. What do y'all think about the video footage? I know y'all been seeing it all day. I know it's been driving y'all crazy like it's driving me crazy, because I just can't believe, I refuse to believe that we got human beings out here doing this, man. That we got people that's supposed to be serving and protecting, but they doing this, bro. Like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Until next time, y'all be blessed.